All right. So we're gonna review again today, we reviewed the other day, we're gonna review again today, review again tomorrow, then we're gonna have a test over all this. So, you need to get out your, practice packet. And the problems, I know we were in the middle of one before, but the problems I told to do at the beginning of the period were from pretest number 2, which is on the back of pretest. So if you would find pretest number 2, which is on the back of pretest, we will jump in and go from there. I did part 2. Those are the 3 or 4 problems that I did. If you can't find the paper, just write them down on something and put the problems up. All right, so we're going to just jump in. We're going to try to get this sheet done. I think we can finish this sheet. So we're starting with number 3. The directions say solve. I promise I'll try to copy them right. So here we go.
Which number are we on?
3. Test number 2, problem number 3. And again, you have to do this on a separate sheet anyway, so if you can't find your paper, just write this down. We're going to solve this equation. What does this tell me? I'm in radians. So when I answer, it's going to be like pi over 3 or something like that. All right, so here we go. What am I going to do to solve this problem? I'm going to factor it. And how does it factor?
-3
minus 4 plus 1. Minus 4 plus 1. And then what do I do after I factor? So tan is going to equal 4, and tangent is going to equal -1. Now this has to be a calculator problem, because even though I can do this one without a calculator, I can't do this one. Do you recognize that you don't have a special triangle with a 4 and 1? So that one's going to have to be on the calculator. You can do this one. Let's practice this one without a calculator. What quadrants will I look in if my tangent is negative? 2 and 4. And opposite and adjacent, 1 over 1, which means this angle is 45. But remember, you're in radians.
So
Pi over 4. So the answers are this and this. Now, every angle involved is a pi over 4. So what about the green one?
3 pi over 4.
This is pi. Right, folks? This is pi.
3 pi over 4.
So pi minus a 4th will be 3 pi over 4. And then this one
2 pi minus.
is 2 pi minus a 4th. So 7 pi over 4. Number 2 is 8/4. So these are the 2 answers that are exact. No calculator. This one I'm going to have to use a calculator on. But before I go to the calculator, I have to figure out where my answers will be, because the calculator will only give me one answer. It's going to be in 1 or 3. So I'm going to my calculator, make sure it's set in radians, and then what do I type in? Second inverse tangent, second tangent 4, and it says 1.326. Would you agree with that? So one of the answers is 1.326, that one right there. How would I find this one? Add pi, using your pi button, just add pi, and we get 4.467. So that problem had 4 answers. 2 of them we were able to find without a calculator, the other one we needed a calculator for. All right?
When's the instance like where like the answers like might not work? And we have to go back and check.
If you are doing a tangent problem and it's straight up or straight down, which is not the case here, right? All right, now B, we're gonna be in degrees now for B. And what is the issue with B?
There's a 2x.
There is a 2x. So what do we do when we have a 2x?
Get everything equal to 0.
We get out our sheet,
Oh, there was equation.
and we can get it all equal to 0. That I'm gonna have to do that. I don't need to do it first, but I do need to do that.
1 minus 2 sine.
But cosine 2x is on my sheet. It has 3 forms. Since the problem has another sign in it, does it make sense to do 1 minus 2 sine squared? This right here is this right here, right off the sheet. Don't look at me confused. Open your Beady Little Eyes and look at your paper. Right?
You got that hard.
Now, isn't that an equation just like this one? So I don't like the order that it's in, so I'm gonna change the order. And then I'm gonna try to factor it. So it's gonna have to be 1 and 1. I'm gonna need a 2 sine and a regular sine. That's how I get 2 sine squared. And I need that one to be negative, I think. Now, before you say anything, foil that. Right now on your paper, foil that.
Foil the parentheses.
Foil this out. And you're gonna get this.
Yeah.
Right? It's factored correctly.
Yes.
All right, so now what does this say?
Sine of x.
1 equals 2 sine, so sine equals 1/2, and sine equals -1. I set each one equal to 0 and solve it. Now, where does the sine, I'm doing this without a calculator because I can, where does the sine equal a positive number?
1 and
1.
4. 3.
Oh, 3.
2.
2. It's 2.
2.
It's wise.
All right, one more time.
It's wise.
Sine is y. Sine is y. Where is y positive? Up. Right? Now, if this is a 1 and this is a 2 and this is a √3, how big is that angle?
30.
I am in degrees, so my answers are 30 and 150. Because that's also a 30, so 30 and 150. Now, where is the sign -1? You gotta be careful because
It's 270.
1s and 0s for sine and cosine are on the circle. Where is y? -1, 270. So we have 3 answers to that problem, 30, 150, and 270. All right, one more equation. All right, so how are you going to solve this?
11/4.
This one's back in radians again.
11/4.
So we're going to divide by 4. And what will it say?
1/2. Cos equals 1/2.
cosine squared
Square to the ground.
equals 1/2.
Then take a root of both sides.
So then I'll square root, and remember, when you square root, it is plus or minus. What's the square root of 1?
1,
1 over the square root of 2.
root 2, root 2, root 2.
Now, that is root 2 over 2.
Plus 1.
For purposes of our problem, you might want to leave it like this,
Oh, yeah.
because when you draw your triangle, it's going to say the adjacent is 1 and the hypotenuse is root 2.
Yeah, 45.
So that, well,
Oh,
we're
no.
in radians,
So.
so
5 over 4.
5 over 4. Now, I only drew in quadrant 1. What does that plus or minus tell
Anywhere,
you?
go anywhere.
It's everywhere. So it's every pi over 4 angle in every quadrant. Okay? So the first one is pi over 4.
3 pi over 4.
The next one, remember this is 4/4, right? Is it pi 4/4? So that one's 3/4. This one is 5/4. And the last one, this is 8/4. So that would be 7/4. Alright, does everybody follow that? We're pi minus 1/4, pi plus 1/4, and 2 pi minus 1/4. Plus or minus means it's in the positive quadrants. Cosine, positive here, negative here.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Alright, number 4 is another proof, but it's easier. Do you remember what we do when we have to simplify sine x minus 180
Yes.
into negative sine x?
Yes, I
Do you
do.
remember what we do?
Yes.
We look right here
Yep.
and we find a formula
Yes, get rid of
that
180.
tells me how to deal with
Yes,
this.
Yes.
What does it say?
Sine x,
Sine first,
sine x, cos 1,
cosine second,
minus
minus
sine x, 180.
sine 180
Cosine.
cosine x. So on your sheet, you have a formula for the sine of an angle minus an angle. This is like your u and v, or x and y, or a and b, whatever letters are on there. So the sine formula says sine first, cosine second, minus cosine first, sine second. Now tell me about 180. 180 is over here, right?
Yeah.
What is the cosine over here?
0.
Cosine
X.
is x.
Negative
Oh my
1.
gosh,
Negative
you
1.
guys,
Negative
we have
1.
got to know that cosine is x and sine is
Uh-oh.
y. So I can't do anything with sine, but cosine is negative 1.
My bad.
What's the sine of 180?
0.
So this is negative sine x minus 0. And look what you were trying to prove.
I see.
Whoa.
Done. So we looked on the sheet, got our formula, plugged in the values that we could. Can't do anything with x, but we sure can with 180, and simplified. All right. Now this next section, you need to be glued to your reference sheet. Tell me about cosine squared plus sine squared.
1.
1. Does it matter whether the angle is 77, 93, root 17, 84? No. If you have sine squared plus cosine squared, you are going to have 1. As long as the two things are the same. They're both 77s, it's going to be 1. Now, B, somewhere on your reference sheet, you will see cosine squared minus sine squared. Where do you see that on your reference sheet? Cosine squared,
Cos 2.
so it's the cosine of twice the angle. The angle is 77, so it's the cosine of 154. That's the answer. Somewhere on the paper, you should see 2 sine cosine. They might be X's they did
Sine
use,
2.
I don't know.
Side
But 2 sine cosine is sine twice the angle.
2. So side 20.
The angle is 10, so it's sine 20. Where do you see the square root of 1 minus cosine over 2?
Sine angle over 2. Sine angle over 2.
Angle over 2? And the angle is 50? So this is a formula for the sine of 25. Tan minus tan over 1 plus tan. Where do you see that?
10 U minus U.
Tan angle minus angle?
Yeah.
And our angles are 11 and 3. So it's the tangent of 8. Cosine minus sine. Cosine minus sine.
Cos angle plus angle.
Cosine
E plus
angle plus angle.
Yes.
And the angles are 12 and 6. So that's the cosine of 18. Alright, those are super simple because you have the reference sheet. Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Number 6, find the sine of 105. All right.
45, 60.
Okay, 105 is not special. It's not a 30 or a 60 or a 45. However, as Dana pointed out, 105 is 45 plus 60. So remember what we do? If our angle isn't one we know, we try to break it up into ones we do know. All right, then what do we do?
Sine 45 plus cos
So
60.
now we go to the reference sheet. What's our formula?
Sine 45.
Sine 45
Times
cosine 60 plus cosine 45 sine 60. That is straight off the sheet, u plus v. Then you gotta figure out what all these things are. So what do we know about the 45? They're root 2 over 2, so we don't even really need to worry about that. 60, if you don't have it memorized, then you'll draw your 60-degree triangle, label the sides. Cosine is 1/2, sine is root 3 over 2. And remember, these are the ones that always end up looking the same. Your denominator's 4, 2 times 2. And your numerator is root 2 plus root 6.
Yes.
And remember, we don't add those. We don't combine those. Okay? Let's look at B. Alright, so we want to find cosine 2a. And we know that A is in quadrant 3. They tell me that. and the tangent is 3/4. But actually, those would both be negative. Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Jake,
be
you paying
positive.
any attention here? I know you're enjoying your lunch, and that's great, but
It's not even his lunch, that's the craziest thing.
whose lunch is
Dana's
it?
half-eaten soup wrap.
He tore off the other half.
Slice of pizza, 3 bags of chips, 2 Kit Kats.
I don't know why I'm gonna make fun of him.
Yeah, he's body
No one's
shaming.
making fun of you, but that just sounds totally unhealthy.
So
I had
unhealthy.
to be
So unhealthy.
He has to vote, guys.
All right, what do we need
That
to
is
do
not
here? We
bulky,
need to
that's
do
not
our Pythagorean theorem
Oh,
and our
Why
hypotenuse.
am I getting fat shamed?
Yeah, that's
I
great.
just want to eat my thing.
I just want you to pay attention while you're eating.
Got
okay?
it.
That makes sense.
Now, everybody okay with this? What is my formula for cosine 2a?
Cos squared minus sine squared.
So this one, you have options.
Yeah.
And in this case, it really isn't gonna be beneficial one way or the other, sometimes it is, but any version will always work. Sometimes it's easier to use one over the other. This time, I don't think it makes a bit of difference. So here's the formula for cosine 2a. Here's my picture. What is the cosine? In that picture right there, what is the cosine?
-4/5.
Negative 4/5, and I am squaring it. What is the sine?
-3/5.
Negative 3/5, and I am squaring that. So what's negative 4/5?
16/25.
16/25 minus
9/25.
9/25. So the answer to the problem is 7/25.
And it's hard to hear.
All right, so between number 2, which we did at the beginning of the period, and then we just finished this, that's your test. So back to the front side of this pretest.
Let's see this slow this time.
Is that basically just what we did?
Yep. But last time we were together, we did not get to 3C. So I want to go ahead and do question 3C. This is on the pretest, which is on the page 4. Page 4.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? So in our remaining time, we are going to solve this equation. So Dana, I do not want to hear your voice. I love you and appreciate you, but I want someone else to tell me what to do. Okay? So here is the problem, and here are the directions, which simply tell me what? In radians. So my answer will be in radians. This will be a no calculator problem. Sometimes these are calculator, this one is not. So someone other than Dana, raise your hand and tell me how you think we should start this problem. Tyler. So Tyler says got an issue right here.
Yeah.
There's already a sign in the problem, so I'll use the one that says 1 minus 2 sine squared. We did one very similar to this before, but not exactly the same. Now what do you notice? No, you can't factor out a sign because you got a 1 sticking around there.
Does that work? Because it says cosine, it has to be squared, I thought, for it to go to 1 minus 2 sine.
No, it's cos 2.
Oh,
Can you
no.
not factor it?
So let's put this in a little different order. And you can, of course, put it in whatever order you want. I think it factors. That's a plus this time, so these are a factor like that. All right, everybody following what's happening here? You need to
Bless
be able to
you.
do this by yourself. So step one, change that. Step two, I realigned them so that it would make factoring easier for me. So 1 equals -2 sine, so sine equals -1/2,
Yeah.
or sine equals 1. Right? Let's do this one first. Remember, when sine is 1 or 0, you're somewhere on the circle. So where would the sine be
Right.
1?
Right.
Pi over 2, pi over 2, pi over 2.
I'm gonna say it one more time. Sine is y. You gotta remember that. Sine is y. Okay? So y is 1 right here. What angle is that?
Pi over 2.
Pi over 2. In degrees, it would be 90. We're in radians. Now, in which quadrants is the sign negative?
2.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Guys, I said I wasn't gonna say it again, but I'll say it again. Sine is y, y is negative, down here. So where is sine negative? Down here, okay?
Down here.
Sine is 1/2. So how big is this angle? It would be 30, but I'm in radians.
Oh, pi over
6.
Pi over 6.
That's a negative.
So what's this big angle?
5, pi over 6.
No.
7 pi over 6.
Plus pi over 6, which would be 7/6.
Yep.
It's more than pi.
Oh, yeah.
And then this one would be 2 pi
Minus 5.
minus pi over 6. So 11 pi over 6. Okay. Tomorrow we will finish pretest and then move on to another review sheet that we have, or maybe one called review sheet or something.
Hey, are we
We're having fun.